Will there ever be racial equality in the world? That is the title of this video. So we start with the two major races, the Caucasian and the African races. In the real physical world of sensory perceptions, where sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch measure human racial relations and tolerances, every race with white pigmentation, whether 0.1% or 100%, hates every race with a 0.1% and 100% African pigmentation because the white pigmentation is very rudimentary. Rudimentary means living at a very elementary and less developed stage. So how do we qualify this statement? We qualify this statement with the dichotomy of perceptions. There are sensory and neural perceptions. Sensory perceptions assess the world of light, the sun, and interpret what's assessed by the world of darkness, the memories and mind. The world of darkness assesses the spirit and mind, then interpret what they assess to the senses so that you, the individual, with a need for greater understanding, will successfully pursue your needs and desires. So now we come to where we talk about perceiving in darkness versus perceiving in the light. What you did not know and you were never taught, because those who are your teachers never knew and still do not know, is there are two perception categories. One of them only allows you to perceive with your senses in the light, and the other makes you perceive with your mind in darkness. This means there are the perceptions of consciousness and the perceptions of awareness. So those are the two categories of perception. So you have the perception of consciousness and the perceptions of awareness. So we are now going to give you formulas for this. The formula for consciousness is focus divided by consciousness, your senses, your sensory organs. That's what that formula is telling you. And the formula for awareness is serotonin divided by melatonin. So now we are entering the internal darkness state. The neural state is the darkness stage. So let's take the latter formula, serotonin divided by melatonin and the race factor. Let's talk about that. So think about serotonin as the ugly white Caucasian boy and melatonin as a beautiful African queen. So let's just take the analogy. Just listen to the analogy. This boy runs into the queen and totally discounts her, disrespects her. He rapes her and gets all the other Caucasian boys and girls to create a story that has nothing to do with the rape case, and with another Caucasian boy as a judge, they get him free. So what happened? Of course, on the physical sensory level, there's no racism committed here, because this African queen is not denied any privileges, any racial privileges at all. But what really happened and continues to happen is neural racism. So that is what we are talking about, the neural aspect of racism. Yes, you never knew about that, and that's why what I stated initially, that you never had a teacher that would tell you anything of this nature. But yes, it does exist. It exists internally. So now let's expand on what neural racism is all about. We call this racism, neural racism, the silent racism from within. This racism is even more sinister than sensory racism. That's the racism that is inflicted upon African people all over, just as you are seeing those poor women out there in Sudan, Somalia, running back and forth, running from one camp to the other, hungry. Now you're wondering, well, why is that happening to the African people? Why is this not happening in Europe? You begin to ask those questions. Where if you don't associate that with racism at all, then there's something wrong with your brain. Regardless of what they say, where that country has been at war for 20 years, where who created the war there? Ask the British and the Americans, and then the Jews. Ask those who created the war there. So you got to go back and begin to look at the conditions that create this racism here, which is the reason why we are now not focused on the sensory part of racism, because these people will always come out and give you some story. Well, look, we are not in your country. That country is independent. So why don't you manage your own business? Why do you keep on putting the blame on us here in Europe? We have nothing to do with that. Yes, you have something to do with that. If you never went and divided Africa into partitions, you think Africa will be killing itself today? If you never went and exploited Africa, steal all the natural resources, look at what is happening now in Libya. Those fools out there in Libya are now running to Europe, going to France and Italy, looking for help. They don't even acknowledge those little boys who fought the war against Gaddafi. Now the credit is going to France. Oh, France and Italy, they helped us over. Well, how about the boys who fought the war? So anyways, so we call this racism from within as neural racism. So with the neural racism, no external force is going to play a role, because you are now fighting this racism within yourself. And so that's what we are talking about. So sensory racism is the type where the white boy attacks you because you are African. Isn't this what they are doing in every one of the countries we loan them to inhabit all over the world? You go to Russia as an African person. Go to Russia and see how those white supremacist boys jump on you and kill you. See? So that's, and then some parts in America. You know, a couple of months ago, some white boy was jailed here for killing a black man. So this thing is just rampant all over the world. This is neural racism. And let's just continue. In neural racism, we have the white boy called serotonin. So this is how I'm expanding on this neural racism now. In neural racism, we have the white boy called serotonin and the African queen called melatonin. So we are going to continue now to expand on this. Okay, so let's talk about the white boy called serotonin. The white boy's serotonin is acidic because he smells bitter and tastes bitter. So he is not easily acceptable or accommodated anywhere. Being acidic also makes him toxic, which means he is a poison and will cause harm and death. See, that's what I was saying. Since all of these dynamics are happening at the neural level, there's a master gland that knows how to tame this white boy serotonin. See? So things are better off at the neural level because there is always that neural system that controls everything else. There's always that neural system that controls everything else. So here, in neural racism, there is the African queen called melatonin. The master gland that is actually responsible for controlling all these dynamics at the neural level is called the pineal, or what some people may call the pineal gland. This gland first produces the white boy serotonin. So you see, the white boy has an advantage here, even at the neural level. The white boy has an advantage because he's the first to be produced. So he's being produced as serotonin, then gives it, then the pineal will give it a very serious instruction. No, the pineal produces this white boy first, called serotonin, and then the pineal will give this white boy some very serious instruction, which is, the instruction is, and the pineal will emphasize on that instruction that the white boy obey the instruction. So the pineal will instruct this serotonin boy that it is not acceptable at all to produce amino acids in the dark. Now listen to that. This is the instruction that the pineal will tell serotonin. See? So the pineal will tell serotonin, you will not produce any more serotonin, any more added serotonin in the dark. with getting more and more amino acids, developing more and more amino acids in the dark. No, you don't develop any more amino acids in the dark. Rather, what you do is you begin to go through what I'm telling you now to do, you boy. So the pioneer tells this boy, the pioneer tells the boy, you don't produce any more amino acids in the dark. What you do, you get rid of amino acids that you have. That's the instruction that the pioneer will give this white boy. So the white boy says, oh, yes, master, I will follow those instructions. And he does. He does follow the instruction because he's told what to do, and it's very clear. He's not confused about that at all because he knows that it is a specific mandate. He says, pioneer, tell this white boy, now, don't produce any more amino acids when you are in the dark. You have to respect dark. You have to respect darkness. As long as you are in the darkness, you will not produce amino acids. Now, you have the freedom to produce as much amino acids when you are in the light. That instruction is clear. When you are in the light, you have that freedom. You can produce as much amino acids as you want in the light. But as long as you get in the dark, boy, you hear me, boy? As long as you get in the dark, I don't want you to produce any more amino acids. White boy says, yes, master. And that's what he does. So the moment darkness appears, amino acids then will never be produced by serotonin. So as soon as this serotonin stops producing amino acids, which is what is called deamination. In effect, it destroys all the amino acids. That's what serotonin does. It destroys all the amino acids and follows that instruction. So the moment he destroys more and more amino acids, then the queen is created. So this African queen is now created, and she is called Queen Melatonin. So the African queen is now called Queen Melatonin, because this white boy respected the instruction that was given to him by pioneer, by the master. So he respected this master. So now here, now there is a lot more to this, and that's why I say you can order for the PDF. You can order for the PDF. It's not that expensive, only $5. I have the full information there that you can really learn more about how this serotonin, melatonin, and these race relations happen. Because you need to know that the racial problem is not really a physical thing on the surface. Like I said, everything with the white race is very rudimentary. The white race is not very developed at all. We all know that. So you need to understand the science behind this racial issue so that you don't keep personalizing on it. In other words, you begin to look at it, okay, here, this man is not matured. He doesn't know how to deal with any other race. So the only result he has is to destroy. And that's what I'm going to get into here briefly, and then I will complete this lecture here. But you can always order for the PDF, because I'm going to have a PDF on it. You can order the PDF from the Dogon University site. Just go to books, and then you get a PDF for $5. That's all it is. So here, why the white Caucasian race has no rhythm. You see? Now, this will begin to give you insight about this man, why his situation, his circumstance, actually renders him a problem. He has a problem. He has no rhythm. So here, when Queen Melatonin arrives, that's now when this serotonin respects pineal, and then it goes through the process called deamination. So Queen Melatonin arrives. So when Queen Melatonin arrives, serotonin will immediately frown at her. See the arrogance in the white boy? Serotonin white boy will frown at her and totally reject her. See, that's what this white boy will do. He will totally reject this queen without ever discovering, and he's not going to discover it. He will never discover the gift that this queen brought for him. See, he is not going to discover the gift that this beautiful queen here, this beautiful African queen brought for him. This beautiful African melatonin queen brought this man a gift. But the man is too arrogant. So he will continue to display his white supremacist, defeatist character and continue to be angry and hateful at this queen. See, he will continue to hate and be angry at this queen. Thus, the great gift of natural cellular synchronous timing Let me repeat that, because that's the gift that the queen brought for him. The great gift of natural, cellular, synchronous timing that this beautiful African melatonin queen brought for this white boy never gets to him because he rejected it even before it could be delivered. You see? And that's why you see the Caucasian doesn't know how to dance. He doesn't know how to twist and turn. He's always too stiff for anything. And so don't blame this man. This man is always needs. Let me tell you, he doesn't want. Don't give him a want. Always know that this Caucasian here needs you. You must be the pioneer. You African person there. And you African leaders over there who are constantly running back and forth like those fools over there in Libya, running over there to France, going crying, okay, here. Look, that money over there is your money. So these people, we have to give you back your money. So why are you lowering yourself to them? Because their brains have been totally put into a situation where now they have to turn that hate. They have to turn the Caucasian hate against them. They have to turn that hate. They have to become the Caucasian now that actually hates himself. So that's what happens to the African race. The African race always turns against itself because it doesn't know the science. I repeat that. The African race is always fighting itself. The Caucasian no longer has to fight itself. Why? Because this man puts this crazy, stupid Christian religion into the head of the African. And then the Arabs too gave this African that stupid, crazy Islam, put that in their heads. And so now the Arabs and the Caucasians no longer have to fight the African race. No, they don't have to, because they basically took this that pineal. Sorry, they took the work of the pineal gland, and then they put that work into religion. They put that work into their education. And so every time you see an African person get a PhD, just look at that person, you are stupid. Kick him out of your way. Every time you see an African person become a pastor, a preacher, kick that fool out of your way. Every time you see an African person begin to cry, Allah, 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 kick him out of your way. So that's what it is. They are now doing the exact functions of the pineal. This man has taken the function of the pineal and he is now implemented that function in religion and education. So that's why we don't need his education. We don't need his religion. We now are getting to that era. The era of Aquarius is right here. This man is going to begin to see that his religion will no longer work. He's already seen that his education doesn't work. If he worked, he would have balanced his own books, his own financial books. He would have balanced his own financial books. He's got all the PhDs, he's got all the accountants, he's got all the economics. Yeah, he can't balance his book, so he creates a war in Libya. See? So he can get some free oil to again pacify his people. Anyway, this is the end of the lecture. Like I said, go to dogonuniversity.com and order for that $5 PDF. Nama, I'm Professor Momo. I need your comments. I know that I have a lot of followers on YouTube, and I have to keep on giving what you deserve. I don't sell you cheap, my people. I give you quality information, and I want you to think. I want you to challenge me. I give you quality information, and so you use that information, challenge me, send me questions, I answer your questions. Nama, Professor Momo.